You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Arya, and this is your NXT audio report for Wednesday, March 21st, 2018. We're back in Full Sail University for, I think, the first time this year. They taped at Center Stage for some reason for the past several months, and I missed the old little 300-seat gymnasium. But here we are. And kicking off the show this week is a familiar face, but not a familiar voice. Tommaso Ciampa came out to start the show. The Full Sail crowd had the same reaction Center Stage fans did, booing him vociferously and chanting about how much he sucked. There were about a dozen fans who did try to get a chant for Ciampa going, but they were overwhelmed by chants for Johnny Gargano. Much like the last 2 weeks, the fans were not interested in hearing what he had to say, booing louder and louder every time Ciampa held the mic to his face. Finally, Ciampa shouted that Gargano was gone and he was never coming back. He didn't get to say anything else as the fans drowned out his voice with louder boos before Ciampa finally left the ring. On his way around, he grabbed several Gargano signs from the fans and ripped them up. There had one girl who actually looked like she was going to cry at this. And actually, a little old lady stood up to Ciampa in the best moment of the first 5 minutes of the show. Finally, he ripped the sign out of the hands of another fan who took off his lucha mask, and it was Johnny Gargano, former NXT superstar, now a paying fan, who then jumped the guardrail and attacked one of the wrestlers. You know, we cannot have fans jumping the guardrail and attacking the wrestlers. It's just not right. I don't care if, the other guy slammed your face into different things and caused you to lose your job. It's just not right. They do that whole little speech when you go to the WWE live events that you need to behave yourself or you'll be kicked out of the building. Well, Gargano, as a fan, was not behaving himself, so security had to come down and drag Gargano out and threw him out of the building. Charlie Caruso announced that due to an injury by Tyler Bate, Mustache Mountain has been removed from the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Tyler Bate said his knee injury has sidelined him for 2 weeks, and since his match is this week, they cannot postpone it. It had to happen now or never. So Tyler Bate and Trent Seven are out. Now, Roderick Strong went to the Twitter to plead with William Regal to put him in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Thankfully for Roderick Strong, Mr. Regal does have a Twitter. He's at Real King Regal. And Mr. Regal granted him the request and told him to go find himself a partner. Speaking of doing stuff on Twitter this week, Adam Cole and Kassius Ohno argued on Twitter, and now they're going to have a main event match this week. Makes me wonder if it's that easy. Why don't the lowest of the low challenge each other on Twitter? Or how all you have to do to get a match at WrestleMania is to challenge each other? Why doesn't Heath Slater come out 1 week and, announce that he's challenging Kurt Hawkins to a match at WrestleMania? That's apparently all you have to do. But anyway, ignore that for now. Anyway, Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly joked about how Strong got into the Dusty Rhodes Classic. After that, they turned their discussions towards Kassius Ohno. Cole said that this was a day off, and he was so confident in victory, he told the other two to stay backstage. The final Dusty Rhodes Classic first-round match, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch going 2-on-2 with Roderick Strong and his partner. Get the drum roll going. It is Strong's one-time foe and the reigning WWE United Kingdom Champion, Pete Dunne. Lorcan and Burch have been teammates at this point for almost as long as Dunne's been UK champion, and have had as much televised success as the team as they had as singles, which is to say, not much. This was a shockingly even match, as Dunn and Birch worked very well together, especially. Dunn went for leapfrog at one point, but Birch tripped him up and turned it into a submission hold, and that led to a standoff as all four men went face-to-face. After commercial, Strong and Dunn had the heat on Birch. I say the heat very loosely because the fans were into all four men and weren't booing any of them. Lorcan eventually got the hot tag and ran wild on Strong, getting one near fall after another. Dunn tagged in. He had the match won with an X-Plex, but it got broken up. Birch and Lorcan locked on a dual submission, but Strong kicked Lorcan off, who fell into the Dunn-Birch pile, and finally Strong pinned Danny Birch with a release suplex into a backbreaker. We have video package for Ricochet. They used the never-aired match from the center stage tapings to showcase him. So in case, going back a few weeks, you ever wondered why that one episode of NXT ended at like 8:45, that's why. For some reason, they took out Ricochet's debut. The women's champion is in the building, Ember Moon, going one-on-one with Aaliyah. It's time for Aaliyah's once every 2 months match in NXT, where I keep assuming that she's better than she really is for some reason. Anyway, Moon is 17 days away from facing Shayna Baszler for the second time. It is Moon Baszler 2 for the NXT Women's Championship at NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Aaliyah, who, according to Nigel McGuinness, took a class called Circus Skills at university, has improved. It does show that even the worst wrestler will improve if you have her trained for 2 full years. Anyway, Baszler came out to do commentary for the match. She put her feet up on the announce desk and looked quite comfortable watching the bout. Anyway, Moon used the Samoan drop as a shout-out to her takeover foe before using a front springboard punch to the face and the Eclipse for the win. Baszler started screaming that Moon was helpless before standing on the announce table and to have a stare down with her foe from 50 feet away. Raul Mendoza came out for his match when he was viciously assaulted by El Idolo himself, the NXT champion Andrade Cien Almas. He came to the ring, and he finally, after a full week and more than half of a show, he finally became annoyed with what Aleister Black said about him and Zelina Vega last week. He called Black a piece of shit and called him out before TakeOver. And apparently Black isn't here this week and almost is okay with this. Next week, Lars Sullivan's coming back. Aleister Black will be on the show. And also, Mr. William Regal announced that next week he will make an announcement that will change the landscape of NXT forever. Now, I ran my brain for several minutes trying to come up with what could possibly happen. What huge thing could happen that will change NXT forever? Remembering that Mr. Regal is an animal lover, although he's more of a reptile lover, but it wouldn't work with a reptile in the situation. I bet Mr. Regal bought a stallion that all the wrestlers will ride on to the way to the ring for their matches every week. Okay, that's probably not happening. Main event time. Adam Cole with nobody in his corner taking on Kassius Ohno. Cole is taking Ohno lightly here, and the funny part is Cole brings out Fish and O'Reilly for everything, including his jobber matches. So in storyline, Cole has less regard for Kassius Ohno than the lowest of the low. And it's possible that he saw Kassius Ohno's boxing robe that he now wears to the ring and thought to himself, this guy is a goof. In early sequence, saw Ohno break out a leapfrog, which is not easy. Just ask my brother, who I one time used the leapfrog as an offensive maneuver on. And you wonder how you can use a leapfrog as an offensive maneuver. It's simple. You go up in the air, and you come down really quickly on the back of someone's neck. It's okay. He turned out fine, folks. I promise. Anyway, after Ohno did a leapfrog, Seconds later, Cole went for a leapfrog, but Ohno just booted him right in the chest. And then tragedy struck as Cole tweaked his knee outside the ring. Oh no. This is so horrible for Adam Cole. His career is going great. Everything was adding up for him. He may not be able to continue this match. Oh my God, it's a miracle. Cole is okay. He leapt up and kicked Ohno right in the head before demonstrating to the crowd that his knee was A-okay. Ohno got his second win, and it was time to pull out his DeWalt toolbox and ladder because, yes, folks, he was building momentum. Ohno got the world's longest 2 count on a cyclone kick. I think it made the referee dizzy. Cole then went bat crap crazy and exploded with a series of forearms and a brainbuster across the knee. Ohno blocked the Shining Wizard, hit a roaring elbow and a diving elbow, which caused Cole to fall outside the ring. Ohno got Cole back in the ring, but that was his undoing. Cole hit multiple super kicks and the last shot, which is the Shining Wizard, for the win. So Cole picks up the big win as the show has reached its inevitable conclusion for this week. I do want to thank you all for listening. We are 3 weeks away from TakeOver. And until next week, thank you for listening and have a great week.
You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.